How to make a fluke-shaped outdoor fence decoration. Now, I started with 1-inch thick PVC board, which I got down at the local Home Depot, and I just traced out a fluke and then cut out that outline with a jigsaw. This stuff is very easy to cut, actually cuts a little bit easier than wood. The real reason I use it is that it will never dry rot, so hopefully these things will last kind of forever. I continued to use the jigsaw just to get as much of the detail on that outline as I could get. Then I switched over to the main tool for the job, which is a 4.5-inch angle grinder. And I'm using a flap sanding wheel. It's a 60 grit flap sanding wheel. This moves material very quickly. So I took down the fins, the dorsal fin, etc., and I tapered down the tail, and then I just used the edge of that flap sanding wheel to start to carve along the facial details, the gill plate, the lips, etc. I'm just going to outline all of these details, and then I'm going to come back in with a oscillating sander and kind of smooth out all of these rough grind lines. You're just trying to create the outline so that each one of these features kind of stands out once it's painted. And whenever you're working with PVC, I highly recommend wearing a mask. You don't want to breathe this stuff in, especially the small, little flakes from grinding. So I'm just working on the outline of the lip, the upper lip, and the bottom lip. And you see, none of this takes a long time. So this is now the oscillating sander. I did sand everything off with an 80 grit, which goes through very quickly, getting rid of all of those 60 grit grind lines from the angle grinder. And then I went back over everything with 120 grit just to really give it a nice smooth finish and kind of prepping it for painting. And with the sander, I'm really just rolling over or rounding over all of the edges and sanding until I get rid of all of those deep grind lines. For additional detail, I went to a Dremel grinder with a cutoff wheel, and I'm just adding some lines on all of the fins. And it's these details that really stand out on the finished product. The same thing, the lines on the fins, on the tail. Now these are the finished carvings. I ended up doing 2 of them. And these are basically ready for paint now. I used a brown spray paint just to give the base coat. And then I'm going to add some more color when I do the resin. For the eyes, I used a self-adhesive vinyl cutting machine. I cut out a round circle, and then I cut out the black pupil and just applied that. It sticks to themselves. Now I'm using a resin from TotalBoat.com. This is called their Maker Epoxy. I mix it slowly for about 5 minutes, pour it on, spread it out with a paintbrush, and then I'm going to add some additional resin colors and a little bit of character to the piece. And for these, instead of just painting them on, I actually spread them out with a hairdryer. So that clear resin was still wet when I applied these resin colors. And then I'm just going to spread out those colors, which adds a lot of character. So this is the finished piece. Hopefully look beautiful on a fence. If you like the video, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.